Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Kim George with Kim Likes to Color on Instagram and also Snickerdoodling LLC. I am the author / illustrator of the Lighthearted Mandala coloring book series. Thanks for joining me today. What I wanted to do today was teach you guys how to add a little dimension to some of your drawings. So today I'm going to use coloring pages, not drawings, whatever. Today I'm using a printout I made from my Lighthearted Mandalas To Go book. So in a previous video, I talked about how you can actually scan and print your Amazon paper pages onto nicer paper. And this is actually the Bristol Vellum 80-pound paper, which is really nice. So you can see here, I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to teach you guys how to go from this here, which is a little flat on the coloring, except for the turquoise I shaded already, to adding a little more shadow. And so let's go ahead and get started. So what you want to think about when you're adding shadow is where your light is. And also, when I used to start coloring shadows, I would just grab my black pencil, and I try to do everything with my black pencil. And this is my trusty Prismacolor, by the way. But not all of your shadows are going to be straight black. You can have, so what I wanted to do is teach you to look at the color where you're going to cast the shadow and maybe select a darker shade or hue of that color, if that makes sense. So we'll start out with the leaves over here. So we can see that this little element and then the little turquoise fans are falling over the leaves, and the leaves actually overlap each other here. So I'm going to start out with a dark green, and actually this is grass green, and here we go again with where I'm really bad at doing this. All right, we're not going to worry about it. It's not going to be in focus. But grass green, I'm going to take like a darker green, and I'm just going to outline around here where the shadow are. And we'll start with this leaf here, this guy. So what we're going to do is just kind of shade it in, and don't worry that you're shading over something that you've already colored. It's totally fine. So I'm not shading in exactly the block here, but I'm just sort of shading it in, making it a little darker. And then I'm going to take a dark green, and I'm going to sort of emphasize this line right here where the shadow is happening between this element and this one. And so I'll make a really dark, oops, I just colored in my pink. That's okay. Make a really dark line, and then you're going to sort of barely fan that line into the green we were using before. And then take your other green and go back and sort of blend it. Because what you want to think about is, and if you look at a shadow, it's super dark right up against where your overlap is happening. So in this case, our light is coming from right above, and it's casting down. But so right where the overlap happens, that's going to be your darkest part of the shadow. But as you move away, that light diffuses or softens. So you want to, and you can even bring it out a little bit further if you wanted to, but you just want to go a little lighter on your touch as you move away, but super dark right up against that. So you can already see how that's added dimension. If you look at it, you can compare it to that one, right? So let's move on to this one. So again, this is more of a grass. This is my grass green. It's not more of, it actually is the grass green Prismacolor. And I'm just going to color around the edges of this fan here, and then right along the edge of this leaf. And I might just bring it up a little bit. And you'll get the feel of this the more you do it. It's going to take some practice. It doesn't come naturally. Maybe it does. I don't know if it does. I'm excited for you. And on this paper, I'm going to be using my little makeup brush a lot because when I press down with my Prismas, it creates a lot of that dust, that pencil dust. Okay, so once again, I'm going to draw a really sharp line right where that overlap is, and I'm going to go around the outline of the fan here. Okay, and then I'm going to come back in with that grass green and just gently sort of diffuse it a little bit. And it doesn't have to be perfect, guys. Remember what I always say, if you're happy with it, it's awesome. Okay, and again, you can go a little darker. You can even, don't forget to blend out that sharp line if you make it too much of like an outline. And it's all about just like blending. And sometimes too, it might look weird after you just do one, but then when you step back and you look at it, you think, oh, wow, that actually looks okay. That's pretty cool. So give yourself a little grace and just keep going, and it'll turn out better than you might think. So let's start on this next leaf over here. So again, we're going to add the green, and now I'm kind of coloring in a different direction, so this direction might feel a little awkward to me. Okay, so it's not going to look exactly the same, but we'll try to get it close. And then again, take your darker green and make that really sharp outline, and then blend it a little bit, and then come back in with the other green, blend it out a little bit. I always talk about creating visual drama on your coloring pages, because who doesn't love a little drama? Anybody that's watched any of the reality TV knows what I'm talking about. Okay, so here again, we're going to take this grass green and go around the blue fan and right along the edge of where this leaf overlaps this one. And we'll go back in with the dark green. And sometimes I get a little cocky and I move a little fast and then I mess it up, but again, that's okay. Here we go. So just diffuse it, fan this out a little bit, and there you go. So again, as you can see how even here it looks different from this one, but that's okay. I'm not worried about that. So that takes care of those leaves. And you could even come in, if you wanted to really be fancy, you could come in and do like overlap from this part down. So you could actually come in and add like a little bit of green here, a little bit of your darker green here. We've already got that going on down there, so we'll just leave that. But then you could come in with your, like a shadow, like maybe that's casting down a little bit of green. There we go. Then you could take this and maybe, yeah, if I were coloring this for real, I probably wouldn't leave those leaves just like that. I'd probably have to do something with them, but you can just do whatever. Anyway, so you get the idea. Okay, so now what I want to do is let's work on these little green ones down here, these green leaves, and I'm going to overlap from this in this direction. So I'm going to take my sharp line, and this is trickier because this green we're starting out with that we're coloring over is already a little dark. In fact, that green is the grass green we were coloring with up here. So I'm probably not even going to use that at all. I'm just going to draw my two lines here. And there's just barely, we don't have a whole lot of room to work with, so just barely fan it out a little bit. And then you can see how that adds a nice little dimension there. So we'll do the same thing on this side over here. Fan that out now just a little bit. And just really, the magic is in that sharp, contrasty line. Okay. So there we go. How's that? So I'm going to set the greens aside, and now we're going to work on these little turquoise scrolls casting a shadow over the pink. So again, I'm going to start out with like a little bit of a darker pink. I'm not going to go too dark real fast, but you've got a little bit of this leaf that I haven't colored yet, overlapping it as long as this leaf and then this scroll. So we've got overlap galore going on here. And we'll just come in on this side. And again, you don't have to be real heavy-handed on this one. And then I've got my process red. So we're going to come in with the process red and make that darker line. And you know what? I'm getting a little bit of muddy color there. That's all right. We'll just keep going. Okay, so we've got a little bit more of a line there. Blend it out with that other pink, and this is just pink. Go figure, pink. And now what I'm going to do on this one, and you can see I did it over here, I'm actually going to add a black outline to make it a little more dramatic. So let's see if I can have a steady hand and actually do this. So I've got a really sharp point on my pencil, and I'm just going to come in and just slowly trace over this outline. And if you think about it, this little nook here, it's okay if you shade it a little bit because there's going to be a lot of shadow where that nook happens. And we'll come in over here. Maybe this going over it with black will take care of that muddiness too. And from there, I'm going to come back in with my processed red. And then this lighter pink, sort of diffuse it a little bit. So not perfect. You can decide if you like that or not. It's a personal preference. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I liked it better the way I did it over here on this one than that one. I think my black line is too thick over there. That's okay. So let's do it again on this one right here. So we'll take this pink. I'm just doing little circles, little circly circles. Come around here. I'm going to try not to pick up that little bit of turquoise there. Okay, and don't forget you've got this leaf that's overlapping. Okay, and now take the processed red. Make that sharper line. Kind of tuck it in there. Oops, okay, here we go. You can fan it back out again with the pink, the lighter pink. I think this one's looking a little better than the other one. Okay, and then here we go with the black. We'll just come in with that black. And the slower you go, the steadier your hand might be. That's how it is for me. I don't know if that's true for everybody. Some people might not do as well if they're going slow. Oops, and there we go. That's okay. All right, so there you go. And you can kind of see, and if you wanted to, you could even take the black and just gently, ever so gently, barely fan around there. Right, and that's going to give it a little bit more of a shaded look. Let me do that so you can see it. So here's what we just did compared to that. Other things that you can do too, like you could take this if you wanted to, and like whenever you color in this element, you could just take the shade. You're just gonna look for where your shapes overlap. And that's where you're gonna go in and dark to light with your 3D coloring. We could even take this black pencil and come in on the fan. And the reason I'm choosing black here is because we've already got sort of a dark color to work with. But this middle guy overlaps the other two. They're almost like little bubble fans. And you can just come in and gently add shadow there after you've added like a little bit of an outline. And if you think you go too far, like maybe we went a little too far there, you can get your original color, maybe just try to blend it in a little bit. But you can see how that adds a little dimension to it as well. So there are all kinds of different things that you can do. I hope this was helpful. I'm glad to do videos like this. If you guys just let me know what tutorials you'd like for me to do. But thanks for watching, and leave your comments for me if you have any. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the little bell to get notifications when I post more. Thanks so much. Have a great day.